videos on Masscom's YouTube page. Just search Iona Masscom or go to NorthAvenueNation.com.
So we're back from the little break we had.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
All right, guys. So if those of you who don't have news apps like that blow up your phone in the middle of the night whenever something happens, just so you know, the U.S. and 5 Arab allies have launched the first strikes against the Islamic State ISIS militants in Syria. So this is just a news update for you guys so that you're aware and know what's going on
in the world.
Exactly, because that's important to know. So now, now Brian's going to take it away with his news update.
So I saw that ISIS kidnapped a French tourist in Algeria and is threatening to kill him within 24 hours if France intervenes in Iraq.
You know what's really interesting? Not that this is a good thing, but they're very consistent with their threats. Like, if you know what I mean? Like, when we decided we were going to intrude on the matter, they took 2 hostages of ours and, they decapitated them. Same thing with Britain, and now the same thing with France. But I'm pretty sure France already made that decision that they were going to go to, going to support our effort to stop them. Not that I'm saying they should go ahead with it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, that was...
And we already talked about Al Qaeda, right? What are they doing? They're just
kind of like
sitting there.
Yeah.
They're saying right now we have 5 Arab allies, and I think Al Qaeda. I'm not going to say it's one of them.
I heard Qatar might be one of them.
Qatar is Qatar is definitely one of them.
I actually heard Qatar.
I'd be thrown off if Al Qaeda was like, let's join forces and fight these guys.
I was talking about this with my father. I was going to give him a different word. With my father, and I had said that during World War II. All these countries were like Russia joined with U.S. forces and France and Britain, powers and all to stop a greater enemy. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it was only I saw a show on the History Channel over the summer where they were saying Russia only joined because Germany kind of messed with them.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what happened. Germany decided, you know what? Even though I have this alliance with Russia, I'm just gonna walk in on their territory and kill their people. Why not? And Russia obviously got mad, which was the most ridiculous thing to do because a lot of historians say we wouldn't have won World War II, obviously, if the U.S. didn't step in, but most importantly, if Russia didn't decide to stay on our side.
Yeah.
Because if Russia decided to stay on the German side, I think we would have been living in a completely different world, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yep.
But with that being said, I think, I had told my father, why doesn't the United States somehow join forces with Al-Qaeda? Join with the enemy to defeat a bigger enemy? I know that almost sounds like a comic book. Just
I was thinking that.
But then he said that's not a great idea, only because they could use whatever skills that we have against us later on. Which is
isn't
true.
that what happened?
But that's why we're so...
Al-Qaeda is because we trained them in the
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what happened, and now we're paying for it. But I guess they learned their lesson. They don't want to do it again, because that's why they're hesitant with Syria, too. Even though Syria is more France's problem. Just saying. If you look back at history, but I don't want to get into that.
Let's not get into that. There's a lot of history just coming back.
Yep.
To bite us right back.
But what else you have for us, Brian?
So I saw Ferrari 458 is being recalled.
What a different...
Yeah, I think
a different news story. Now that ISIS daily terror is done, let's talk about Ferrari. Why are they having a recall?
Because they found out if a person is in the trunk, they're trapped. They can't escape. So they.
I'm sorry. Why are people being stuck in Ferrari trunks?
First of all, if you're in a trunk, you can't get out of that, right?
Yeah, you can. There's something you can pull in the trunk.
I actually didn't know that. I've also never been put in a trunk.
Because in movies, whenever they're in a car and in the trunk actually, and it's locked, you can never get out in movies.
Well, that's because in movies everything's made to be convenient. Why can a guy run across open area with all these people with guns and not get hit once? Why does nobody reload it? That's part of just a movie. It makes sense.
It makes sense. Okay.
Terminator.
Yeah,
so the killer robot coming back from the future makes sense.
Now that you can't,
it makes obvious sense, so much sense. What's that? What does that meme of the dog say?
I forget.
So it's incorrect grammar, but continue. I'm sorry.
But anyway, so they're recalling it because of that.
Yeah. Yes,
I mean, I guess that's reasonable because in case there's a person that wants to kidnap somebody, they need to have their trunk operating correctly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't want... Wait, what is it? That the trunk won't open?
Yeah, it won't open.
Yeah, see, you don't need that problem. You need to make sure that this person's out right
It's alive. If you want ransom money,
you know what I mean?
If you want ransom money, you got to keep the person alive.
Yeah, but it doesn't help if it opens. Then, then the problem they have
what?
works in your favor because it's like, oh look, this trunk's never gonna open from the inside.
But like,
they can
what
never
if,
escape. But now they're recalling it so that they can fix it.
I just love how this is like one of the problems in the world. No, I'm kidding.
It's not really a problem.
like
The trunk is, I don't know. I wouldn't have. Would you have recalled all these cars for a trunk problem?
Maybe
Is
if
that
I knew the kind of
really-
people buying it.
I think there's more mechanical problems they definitely could have recalled.
Yeah, they're probably just hiding behind the trunk.
Like if the brakes weren't working, that's a bigger issue than trunk problems.
Definitely.
That might be like the problem. They're just hiding behind it. Like, no,
You
it's
know
just
what?
the trunk.
What if
bringing
that?
it.
Yeah. Imagine someone tests it out. It's like it's not the trunk problem. It's the brakes. That's when they have an
But
issue.
how did they find the trunk problem? Is what I want to know. Did someone
I'm
like?
telling you, it
Yeah,
was
someone-
someone. It was like a super. No, I'm kidding. Let me just kill that. I'm just gonna kill it. I don't know. That's weird. I guess maybe they were just. Oh my god, my trunk won't open, and then they just noticed.
Probably some like rich kid playing
Yeah.
hide and seek.
Can you
I'm gonna go
imagine?
hide in father's Ferrari's trunk, and then as they're
Hey,
like,
please, the
finding-
people who are driving these Ferraris, they don't even care. Like they'll probably just trade it in the minute it has a problem and buy a
Yeah.
new one.
Yeah.
And they also
true.
probably have a Bentley and a Rolls
Royce.
Rolls Royce, thank you. I
Yeah.
was gonna say Rolex. I'm like pretty sure that's a watch. Quite sure. All right, what else?
So
What else we got?
the Rockefellers are planning to switch their investments from fuel to clean energy. Which,
Good for them.
Yeah.
What kind of clean energy? Like solar energy?
Probably solar energy. Like
I feel like
all
the
renewable.
world needs solar energy.
Well, I know that's one of Obama's plans that he
Yeah.
wants to
and
really push
China's
towards.
plan.
China's plans.
Oh,
China's
yeah, that's
got
right. You
gigawatts.
didn't tell us that.
They're
China-
making.
They're
Yeah.
making
Lorries.
gigawatts.
You need to make that.
But I think it's somewhere about $50 billion worth of investments
That's
in
a lot
fuel.
of money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think for the most part, everyone's gonna start gearing towards clean energy. It's not like it's.
Yeah.
Like Iron Man.
Yeah, we probably do need Tony Stark to get all this stuff.
Where's
going.
our Leonardo Da Vinci? Because he's Tony Stark.
Oh.
He's all
Everyone just looks at me. I'm like,
crickets.
cricket.
It took me a second
Cricket.
to kind of like put Leonardo da Vinci
Because they mentioned that in the movie. But anyway,
that.
let's forget about that.
But
Scrap that.
yeah, I think it would be like a good sign because if the Rockefellers that made all their money off fuel can just switch it and still keep that like fortune,
Yeah.
then it'll be like, hey, everyone, look, it's not a complete waste getting solar energy.
If they see that they're not losing money, it's like, let's move on to that. And that I wouldn't say a better world, but a better clean world,
Yeah.
I would say. And we could move on and use the sun for a lot of things.
Use the sun for a lot of
Use the
things.
sun.
Yeah. Because
Well, no,
we gotta utilize the sun.
Because
Plants
eventually
do.
you gotta remember all the gas and stuff is gonna be used
Yeah.
up and whatnot.
I was actually like having a debate with my mom over global warming.
Well, my dad thinks that it's my dad is a man of many words, mainly because anything I say is from my dad and I's morning car rides, where all he does is talk and all I do is just sit there because I'm not even awake. But he thinks that the whole idea of global warming and climate change
Is he saying it's fake?
he thinks it's like
Well, I was saying like
it's not a hoot. It's
What's the word? I just lost the word.
I know the word though,
Yeah.
but he thinks that it's fake and it's
A
phony.
hoax.
A hoax.
There we go. He's
There we
just
go.
like it's just the government that's saying that it's real, and I'm
If
like,
they-
nah, I'm pretty sure
I'm pretty
that
sure
the
if
ice
the-
caps are melting.
Yeah,
Like,
if the
water
government
levels
is
really are
saying this,
rising.
then it's like I'm pretty because they could now. I'm not saying that not much was done, but that should be priority. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I
'Cause we
think,
live in it. We gotta
I
do
think
something
one of
about
the
it.
problems is that like it's called global warming. So you have all these people like, oh, if the world's warming up, why do we still have cold winters?
Yeah, they don't
So-
understand
that
that.
is
I
the
think-
most ridiculous
Yeah,
thing I've
so
ever heard too. Because
that's why-
isn't the winters gonna be colder?
Yeah, it's hotter summers, colder
Yeah.
winters.
But this summer wasn't all that hot though.
I don't
That-
know. In August, I had a few like.
Well, it was August,
Well, I
but
mean-
like I meant
Sweats.
a majority of the summer. Think about it.
Majority of the summer
I
was
worked in the
horrible.
basement most of the summer. I wasn't sweating like that.
Well,
Like there's no.
it's definitely gonna be a cold winter. If
It's gonna be a
30,
cold
40
winter.
degrees when I woke up this morning.
So the people gotta understand. Like like they need to Google it. They have the Google. And then-
But how much can you trust Google?
No, but
You
I'm
gotta
saying.
go to actual official websites.
No. When I mean search it up, yeah, like look for actual websites, do some government research about global warming, and I'll be like, oh yeah, but it's still winter. You know, it's kind of a ridiculous thing to say because
Well,
it affects everything globally.
in other spring random news, I just saw a headline that said, "Could bacon stop nosebleeds?" which may be either the most grossest thing I've ever heard
Wait,
or the coolest thing I've ever heard.
To put it in your nose or to eat it?
Yeah, it says doctors have been recognized for using cured pork to stop a 4-year-old's uncontrollable nosebleed.
Oh, okay.
Michigan doctors
how'd
who
you get
used
that?
cured pork to stop a nosebleed won a 2014 IG Nobel Prize. Just because, I guess. I want to see how they did it. Hold on. Can you imagine just putting bacon in your nose?
I would not want to do that. If I want to stop the nosebleed.
Okay, so they basically stuff the strips of like pork and bacon into the kid's nose twice, and it just stops somehow.
How did they come up with that plan?
I have no
what's
idea.
in the
I want to know
bacon?
what was the
Yeah,
process.
I wanna know.
Like, was some guy eating a bacon, egg, and cheese, or had pancakes and eggs and bacon, and was just like, huh? I wonder.
He probably was playing around, so he was like, "Hey guys, boop."
No, but this is the reasoning. It said
No.
that there are some clotting factors in the pork, and the high level of salt will pull in a lot of fluid from the nose.
Yeah, definitely salt.
I would have thought it was like the doctor just had
Jay,
it.
why do you
trying to
know
fix
this?
it.
I'm so horrible at science. I'm like, I'm really fascinated. How do you
No.
know that salt's gonna stop it?
Because
Salt dries it up.
Yeah, it's basic knowledge. You know this. I don't know why you're looking at me like I know
I didn't
everything.
know this.
I didn't know
I
it
didn't know
either.
this.
That's why they use salt for snow. You know this, Spring. This Spring, come on.
But there's salt in so
Yeah.
many things. For that, I can use like table salt and put it in.
Yeah, but that's you don't want to put it down the kid's nose.
Yeah, but do
Here
you
you
think it
go,
was like the
kitty.
doctor?
Just like-
the doctor was
There you
like,
go.
he's trying to figure out how to stop these nosebleeds, and he's like, "Oh my God, kid, just cut it out!" and just shoves his like breakfast in his face,
That would
and the
be
bacon got lodged in the
hilarious.
lodged in the nose.
Hilarious.
And he's like, "Oh, I guess I did something good. You're welcome. Here's
I
the
would
bill."
not, I would not stick it in my nose. I would just put my head back and eat the bacon.
Yeah.
Probably stop it from there.
That's actually really gross. That's worse than putting a tampon in your nose. Which actually, if you guys do have nosebleeds, is probably the smartest thing to put in. Just
yes, the
because think of what
tampons I
it's
keep
used
around.
for. Just
What
saying,
was
it
this
is
movie?
used and made to do things like that.
What was this movie? The one Amanda
She's
Bynes.
like a man.
Yeah,
Oh, she's like a man.
She's the
She's
man.
like a man.
She's the man when
the
Channing
man.
Tatum puts the tampon. He's like, "Yo, these things really work." And I
Well,
was
yeah,
like,
because they're made to absorb that
Yeah.
and all that fun stuff.
Yes, let me just grab the tampons I have
All right,
actively
I don't feel like
ready.
talking about tampons on the radio anymore. I think we should definitely go to a break.
All right.
Listen to those beautiful liners. Let's hear it. Pete Considori, or maybe one of those NFL lines. Those are my favorite.
WICR. We're now on Live 365 and Ustream.com.